Hello and welcome back to the Hardwood Hoops podcast. I'm your host, Ben Jones, and this week I'm not joined by Liam. I'm joined by a special guest, friend of ours, Jack Greenaway. Welcome, Jack.
Hello. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. Looking forward to the haircut.
Yes, definitely. Tell us about yourself. What got you into basketball and what you're doing with basketball today and how you got to here?
Yeah, sure. So I suppose I was quite like a late bloomer to basketball. I definitely didn't play it when I was younger. But when I was younger, do you remember the Sega Mega Drive, the cartridge games?
Yeah, I think I've still got one at my parents' house somewhere.
Yeah, probably collecting dust or something.
Yeah.
I used to play NBA Jam. You know, the 2v2 game?
Yes.
And I used to love that. I think it was the just the sounds, like the commentator. Can you remember what the commentator would say and stuff? And
yeah,
what was it? Boom shakalaka and
that game was fantastic.
Yeah. The graphics was terrible, wasn't it? It was just like a side-on view of the court. They ran up and down, and they made that weird noise when you could elbow. I think you elbowed players. Like there wasn't any fouls or free throws.
Very much like basketball at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely. Well, except for the dunking. Do you remember they used to like jump, defy
so high?
Jump
yeah.
So high. So yeah, I've just played that constantly when I was younger, and then it kind of just like lulled a little bit into basketball. Sort of lost interest and went to uni, and then started playing for my uni team, and then came back home and joined like the local team and got back into open runs and stuff.
Nice, yeah, because that's kind of where we met properly in open runs and at the local team. I don't know if you want to give them a quick shout out.
Yeah, might as well. I haven't played for them in a while because of obviously the pandemic, but looking forward to going back and playing for the Stroud Sharks.
Hoorah.
Yeah. You can't see it, but we're doing a handshake right now where we're getting our fins out.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. Yeah, like I said, I've done a couple of open runs with you and played with quite a lot of the Stroud Sharks. Occasionally when I'm free and available to. And it's always a pleasure playing with you guys, that's for sure. A nice bunch.
A great like local scene. Just it's kind of like on the outskirts of Gloucester, isn't it? Where the big scene is. But it's great.
Yeah. No, it's good. So we'll get into our topic in a minute, but we've had some news this week I wanted to briefly touch on, and that is the NBA All-Stars have released their reserves this week. Just in case you haven't heard who they are, from the West, you've got Anthony Davis, Paul George, Rudy Gobert, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Chris Paul, and Zion Williamson. And in the East, you've got Jaylen Brown, James Harden, Zach LaVine, Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Jason Tatum, and Nikola Vucevic. Any standouts that you're glad are there? Anything missing, do you think?
Definitely some standouts, like Julius Randle has been absolutely balling in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He was good when he came into the league, but is it like his seventh year now or something? I can't. But he like literally upped at all parts of his game.
Yeah, he's playing super well this season, really making a name for himself in New York. Because even when they signed him last, like sort of at the end of last season for this season, I thought that's a bit of a risk. It's a bit of a gamble. He's a bit of a kind of nobody to this point. Maybe like a third or fourth option on a team, but he's stepped up big, and it seems to be suiting him in this role.
Yeah, I guess he's just loving the limelight in New York. It's good that him and Tibbs get on, because Tibbs, the coach, he's quite like a hard worker, and I always thought that Julius Randle just, I don't know, got the impression attitude was, "Oh, I'm just good at basketball. I'll just play it." But he's really like found his role, hasn't he?
Yeah, because we were having a debate when they sort of first hired Tibbs, because Liam's an on and off New York fan, and whether it was a good idea to hire someone like that. But I thought it was a good idea because he is very good with the young players. His biggest issue in the past has been hammering them with minutes, but he gets them playing defense and he gets them to a really high standard. It seems, like you said, to be working for this team. Like Emmanuel quickly is coming along very quickly.
Yeah.
They seem to be finding a bit of a stride in New York, which is great.
Yeah, and it's good that Derek Rose went back. I like that.
Yes.
It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, really, really good. Any other standouts for you there?
I suppose probably do one from the West. I mean, Damian Lillard, he's always an all-star, isn't he? He's been the super snub a lot of years.
Yeah, he.
Great to see him.
There's still a debate at the moment that maybe he should have started. Yeah, even Doncic has come out and said, "I think Dame should have started over me," but it's.
I don't know about that. Like Luka, yeah,
he is incredible, isn't he? Luka is fantastic, and he does everything as well.
That buzzer, was it a buzzer beater last?
Oh. Yeah, last night, amazing. Yeah, just with confidence as well, and with not on the 3-point line either. He's a good couple of feet behind it.
Yeah. Oh well, and he's stepping back, isn't he? So
yeah.
I remember seeing Luka Doncic in the FIBA World Cup.
Yeah.
Before he kind of like came into the NBA, and you could tell like this guy, wow, he is going to be. And yeah, I mean, he's just performed crazily well.
Yeah, he'd been playing pro since he was like 16 or something out in Spain. So he's used to running with the big boys.
Yeah, he's definitely putting himself out there. I think regarding snubs, I mean, the biggest one for me personally would be Sabonis. Like, he's been averaging a double-double this season. I think he's tied some triple-double record for the Pacers.
Oh wow!
And he still like got snubbed, but I'm kind of thinking who he could replace. Probably Nikolai, but
yeah,
I don't know why Vucevic is in there.
Okay, what's he been averaging? Again, about 20 and 10. The numbers are eerily quite similar, I think. So perhaps it's down to market size, or I'm not sure, because I think the coaches have a hand in picking the reserves. So I'm not quite sure there, but yeah, there's a couple there that are kind of interchangeable. And obviously Anthony Davis is injured at the moment, so he's going to have an injury replacement in the West, which I will predict will be Devin Booker.
Yeah, that should be Booker, yeah.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the new Damian Lillard.
Yes. Especially seeing as the Suns beat the Blazers last night as well. I think maybe Devin was making a point. He scored 35 points, I think he did. And Chris Paul came out and said as well that it's really bittersweet this year. He loves the fact that he's an all-star, but equally knows Devin should be there as well.
Yeah.
So, but that leads us on nicely, talking about your snub, to the team we're here to talk about today, the Indiana Pacers.
Woo woo.
Not talked about much on our pod, but it's nice to get a word in. So my first question for you is, why the Pacers? Coming from a small town in England, what drew you to the Indiana Pacers?
Yeah, small town in England, small market team in America, isn't it really?
Yeah.
I suppose going back to how I got into basketball, I think playing NBA Jam, everyone used to always pick the Bulls and the like, oh, Jordan, Pippen, that sort of. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to root for the underdog. I'm going to root for Reggie Miller, the guy who doesn't win anything, but is a really good player. I think that's where it all began. Like, always root for the underdog is how I see.
No, it's a nice way to be, definitely. especially when they actually get a win as well. I mean, perhaps that's why I support the Cavs as well. One of the ultimate underdogs. But,
Yeah, you know the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. All too well.
There was also one thing that made it's really random, but last season we had 3 TJs on the team, so that was pretty cool.
Yes.
Would ask me why the Pacers, and I'd be like, oh yeah, I got 3 TJs on the team. TJ Leaf, who doesn't play for us anymore, TJ Warren, and TJ. Do you know the last one?
Oh.
Nah,
not off the top of my head. Go on.
TJ McConnell.
That's it.
Yeah.
I did notice that at one point, and I had to double take or even triple take because
Yeah.
it was a misprint for a minute. How do you feel about the Pacers? How do you feel they're getting on this season?
They had a really great start, but I think it's kind of slowed down a bit. I think they're 15 and 14.
Yeah.
Minute, 4th in the East. So, but that's in the East, so it doesn't really say much. But
yeah, it's not a bad place to be sat in the East, and there's wins to be had from here, isn't there?
Yeah, obviously the new coach. So the new coach, everyone's got their new systems and stuff. I think all the training staff got replaced, bar one, but he's left as well because of family matters.
Sure.
So I think all the players are now trying to get used to it because there's a lot of zone Pacers are playing now, which is quite interesting to see.
Yeah, it's always I've always found interesting that the Pacers and the way they seem to make an amazing lineup out of all the players they've got, and they seem to all buy into the team and the way they want to work, and whether that comes from the kind of the grit and grind of the Reggie Miller era of the Pacers, and it's just keeps filtering through to the teams that come up. But
yeah,
everybody seems to work hard for each other on a Pacers team, which is so good to see. It's not just a team of superstar and others.
Yeah, it's always been a group of players that can play well together. And you say about grit and grind, they've been renowned now for sort of keeping scores down, playing hard defense and stuff.
Yeah, because over the past couple of seasons, I was saying to you just before we got started that I constantly underrate the Pacers and sort of think they aren't going to do as well this season. But for the last 6 seasons, they've gone over 40 plus wins.
Yeah,
which is great. And the season before that was 38, and then you're back up to 56, 49, 42, 37. They are very consistent every year, and that's with some years with huge roster changes.
Yeah, it's good to see them making the playoffs a lot of the time.
Mm.
But again, they're making the playoffs, but they're never getting out of the first round. That's the heartache.
Do you think there's a kind of consistent reason why that's not happening, or do you think it varies from season to season depending on who you've got?
I think they seem to get swept a lot in the first round. So I guess it is down to a lot of the time not having the depth. I mean, last season we didn't have Sabonis because he was out with an injury. But yeah.
Yeah. And Oladipo had just come back from injury, hadn't he? Really?
Yeah. I mean, he kind of announced that he wasn't going to play in the bubble, and then sort of ended up trying to play in the bubble, but he was never the same.
How did you feel about Oladipo the last couple of seasons? Obviously, he comes to you from OKC, is an absolute baller for that season or a season and a half.
Yeah.
And then
great.
and then injury, and he comes back from the injury. Would you wanted to have kept him for a little bit longer, or are you happy with the trade, the timing of the trade and the way it happened?
Oh, yeah, good question. I think the injury changed him a lot. I think his injury was like a ruptured quad, something in his right knee, so it's a really big injury. him to come back, and he was quite explosive before the injury.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, so he came back and he kind of had to change his game. He was shooting a lot more threes. He had loads of buzzer beaters, was cool. One against the Bulls, which was especially good in Indiana, because he originally he played college in Indiana.
Okay, so he's got a real big affiliation with Indiana.
I imagine a lot of the guys in America, like the fans, they love him, but he came back and he was definitely not the same person.
No.
There were rumors as well about him going up to other teams. I don't know if you heard this, but there were rumors of him going and like saying, "Oh, can I join your team and stuff?" Like with the trade rumors.
Yes, I did hear about that. Yeah, he was kind of putting a bit of a word out there that he wanted to get out of Indiana as well, didn't he? And that he wasn't happy there for whatever reason, which in a way seems mad because Indiana's given him some of his best NBA careers and sort of helped him through this injury and kind of nursed him along. Do you have any sort of malice towards him for that, or is it all just it's all business?
I doubt it was true. Anyway, I mean, he was given the green light to be the star of that team, and he did it for a bit, and then he had the injury, and then Sabonis stepped up. TJ Warren got traded in. We had him. He kind of lost his role a bit, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. So, how do you feel about the trade? Do you think you guys did well out of it? Do you think you could have sold him for a bit more, or do you think it was about fair?
Yeah, no, I quite like Levert. I think he's a great player. He was really good in Brooklyn. Because he was sort of like a bench player, wasn't he? And then a couple of players got injured. Dinwiddie.
Spencer Dinwiddie. Yeah.
And he kind of like rose up. Did you know that he actually got drafted by the Pacers?
Oh wow, did he? I did not know that.
That was cool.
That's a great fact. And he's got kind of come in full circle. It's such a shame. Well, I say a shame. It's amazing that the Pacers sort of doctors and staff found it was cancer. Was it cancer in the end?
A lump on his kidney.
Yes, and they've managed to. It's all gone successfully well, and he's just sort of getting himself back to full fitness, which is really, really good news.
Yeah.
But me and Liam in particular, we were so excited about seeing him on the Pacers. We really thought he was going to be that kind of missing link, that real big contributor that you guys needed to get yourselves over the kind of hump here and keep yourselves in playoff contention.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he slots into the sort of rotation, whether he will start or come off the bench and sort of help in that way.
I reckon he'll probably start his career for the Pacers off the bench, just getting back to it. But I can see him definitely getting a starting spot. So before his injury, as a bench player in Brooklyn this season, he was averaging 18.5 points with 6 assists and a steal a game, which is incredible, really, for a bench player coming off the bench that they've got or had at the time.
Yeah, it's certainly a hole that will help for the Pacers because, I mean, we've got no one off the bench, really, that can produce. He can produce his own shot, can't he? So
yeah, really, really good.
The minute we've only got Jeremy Lamb and Doug McDermott.
Yeah. So, yeah, he'll be a massive asset to your team when you get back, which is really, really good. Do you think the Pacers this season need to do something else to help them win? Do you think it's just waiting for the coach's sort of system to fully lock in? Do you think they need to make some more moves, some more trades, maybe sign somebody in certain positions to bolster their squad? What do you think's maybe missing at this point in the season for the Pacers?
It'd be nice to see them actually fully healthy and seeing them all play together. Because we got TJ Warren out, we got Levert out. It'd be great to see TJ Warren come back into the lineup, sort of play how he was playing in the bubble, because that was outrageous.
Yeah,
Yeah, scored like 53 points in one game.
That was crazy. I really hoped he'd kind of carry it on into this regular season, and I hope we do see it all again, even if we wait till the next playoffs to see it again. But that was special.
Yeah, it was amazing just seeing like they were just giving him the ball and he was just chucking up these shots, and you're like, "No, that's going in. That's another 3 points."
Yeah, it was, and it was consistent. Like you said, it was against every single team as well. Seemed a period of time when nobody could stop him.
Yeah, he went for a great run. I think I really do want to see this team like stay together because we've got Sabonis and Turner as like big guys, and it's kind of refreshing seeing two big guys on an NBA team like in today's modern sort of small ball era.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I love it. Like you've met me. I'm not tall enough to be a big, but
yeah,
I like to throw what weight I have around as a kind of small big. So I'm all for playing two bigs on the court. So it's nice to hear that you're a fan of Sabonis and Turner playing together because a lot of people out there aren't. I'd say.
Yeah, they want to see scoring, whereas I think I'm definitely like defensive minded. So Sabonis can sort of play the smaller sort of position as a big guy, run around the perimeter. But then you've got Miles Turner, who is a beast in the paint, and he's proved that this season. Just blocking, isn't he? So
both him and Sabonis are very young. They're still only 24, I believe. So they've both got legs yet to keep improving and developing and really kick on from here. So I think you might be right. If these guys can stick together, they could just keep going from strength to strength. Yeah,
it'd be nice to see. Just with Miles Turner, another thing is, do you remember Roy Hibbert back in the?
I do. This was peak Pacers Heat days.
Yeah, so Roy Hibbert was kind of like the he started that verticality rule, the verticality block sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think now Miles Turner's sort of doing a little bit of that. He's definitely more athletic than Roy Hibbert.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a little circle coming right round. So Miles Turner's now like taking over that Roy Hibbert role, but Miles Turner can stay in the league because he can shoot threes. He has proved that he's going to be Defensive Player of the Year. He's got to be. As a Pacers fan, I'm probably biased, but
no, because there was a couple of seasons ago where he was in the loop and really in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, and it probably went to Rudy Gobert, someone like that.
Yeah.
But
or Giannis.
Yeah. And then it went a bit flat for him for a little while, but this season he has really stepped back up. I feel like he's kind of defining his role slowly with this Pacers team. Like it's not everything scoring wise or whatever needs to go through him. If he's doing his job and blocking the shots and getting the rebounds, he'll get his touches around the rim and score at will if he needs to.
Yeah, he's athletic enough. He's big enough. He is a bit like Rudy Gobert, just less well known, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think there's a cool stat from Miles Turner how he has more blocks than it's like 5 or 6 teams in total.
Wow.
Yeah, he's averaging more blocks than a team.
That is ridiculous. I'll try and find
there was a cool just on the blocks thing. There was a cool thing a couple of years ago where I think it's like Miles Turner backpack attack. And what happens is they give out a backpack every time he gets a block. And I just wondered if they knew he was going to become an outrageous shot blocker because they stopped doing it this season.
Yeah, that is potentially why. Yeah, he's averaging 3.5 blocks a game, which is obscene.
Yeah, it's huge.
And six rebounds, 13 points. So he is contributing everywhere for that Pacers team this season. From this, I can assume you're glad they didn't pull the trigger on the potential Miles Turner to the Celtics, and you get Gordon Hayward and maybe like a Daniel Tice in return.
Yeah, that turned out probably a lot better for us. I think the whole hype about Gordon Hayward trade was that he was sort of coming back to the Indiana.
Yeah,
which is kind of like a lot of players in Indiana. So like the Victor Oladipo played college in Indiana. I think Brogdon always said he wanted to play for Indiana, and now he's playing for Indiana.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm happy we still got Miles.
Do you think you'll ever get the full trio of Holiday brothers as well? Just to go, you could have 3 Holidays and 3 TJs.
Yeah, that'd be good. We just need. I can't remember. We got Justin, we got Aaron, so we need
Drew.
Yeah. Ironically, Drew's probably the best Holiday out of them all. So.
Yes, the Bucks seem to be missing him. He's only been there a short while, but he's been out with injury, and the Bucks went on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak without him. So
yeah, he's a great player. He was a baller in New Orleans.
Yeah, that in particular that season he had with DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis and Rajon Rondo.
Yeah.
That was their first playoff stint, I think. I wanted to ask you, put you a little bit on the spot about so the paces that I remember the best are, like I mentioned briefly a minute ago, is those Roy Hibbert ones with Lance Stevenson, Paul George, and I follow LeBron, as you know. I'm a big LeBron fan, as everybody probably knows who listens to this. But and I used to fear that Pacers team. Like for me, that's been their peak in the most recent of years. Do you remember watching those Pacers teams, and in particular those Pacer and Heat matchups at all?
Oh yeah, that brings back memories. I think I can name you the starting lineup. George Hill and then David West. Do you think you missed off the?
Yes.
Like David West was a power forward and he was a beast. I think the hardest memory of that sort of team was watching. Was it when they went 3-4 against the Cavs? Paul George got a nasty dunk on LeBron. But then it was the game that LeBron caught Paul George slipping at the end, like in the last few seconds, and scored an easy layup. I was like, oh no, that was it. That turned the tide.
Yeah, that was he gave Paul George a high five after he dunked because
he knew
it was such a good dunk. Yeah, and then he ended up winning the game with a lay-in off an inbound ball. An inbound ball.
I think the other big highlight of that era was Roy Hibbert blocking Carmelo Anthony. So I know Liam's a big fan of Carmelo.
Yeah.
And I can picture it now. Roy Hibbert's like hand buckling back and Melo trying to dunk. And just Roy Hibbert sending it back in the playoffs. Oh, I got out of my seat.
I just got the roster up here from their, what season is this? 2013, 2014. So 56 wins this team was. Paul George, Lance Stevenson, George Hill, David West, Roy Hibbert. Your starting five you absolutely nailed. Their bench is incredible looking at it. Danny Granger.
Oh, yeah. He was coming off an injury, I think, though.
Yeah. And he still managed 8.3 points a game. Evan Turner, CJ Watson, Andrew Bynum, who only played 2 games, but he was there. He counts. Luis Scola, who was aging at that point, but he was a hell of a player.
Luis Scola, that's a great. I forgot about him.
Yeah, he was kind of early on those kind of bigs that could step out a little bit, wasn't he? That was great. Young Mahimi.
Yeah, Young Mahimi. He was a young protege of Roy Hibbert.
Solomon Hill.
Yeah.
Chris Copeland, who me and Liam like, he went to the Knicks, and there's a clip somewhere of somebody shouting at him to stand still because he keeps giving away loads of fouls.
Yeah, he's a 3-point shooter, wasn't he?
Yeah. Rasul Butler, and then Lavoy Allen and Donald Sloan and Orlando Johnson filling out the rest of the team. But that is a strong team. No wonder they went 56 wins.
Yeah, they were. It seemed ages ago now.
Yeah.
It seems longer that Paul George was playing for Pacers.
Yeah, I know. It does seem so strange to now think he's gone. Since being there, he's gone to OKC and now the Clippers.
Yeah.
Are you still a bit of a Paul George fan? Have you still got a soft spot for him?
A little bit, yeah. He is a good player. He's very smooth, I think.
Yes, extremely. Especially this season, he's been on fire again, which is great.
Yeah, and again with like his defensive, he's just the way he plays defense. Although he always gets big shots against him, but he's always going to happen when he plays defense against the best player, isn't he?
Exactly. You got to, if you're stepping up to do that, it's going to happen occasionally.
Yeah. Pandemic Pool, as they call him in the bubble.
I felt so sorry for him, but I think the Clippers last season just lacked leadership in the playoffs, and I feel like Paul George has found that voice this year and is making it count.
Yeah, you expect him and Kawhi to be like a great sort of small forward and shooting guard or where.
Yeah.
No one's getting past them.
No. They defensively they are incredible, and they can both score as well. So they're good in terms of sort of wing spots. It's just their point guard occasionally, and they lack the bigs. But you never know. Could all change soon. One more little thing before we start wrapping this up. Again, it's kind of putting you on the spot, but if you had to do your all-time Pacers starting five, who would you go with?
Oh, all five. That's a hard question. That's harder than your screens, Ben.
That's tough. Yeah, I know. And they are solid, everyone.
I think point guard, you'd have to go with Darren Collison. He is a Pacers legend.
Nice. Yeah, great pick.
Shooting guard. I mean, it's got to be. It's tough. I'd put Paul George as shooting guard and then play Danny Granger at small forward.
Okay.
I'm missing out Reggie Miller. Okay.
You are.
Yeah. Only because I wasn't I wasn't around in that era, so I'm just going with my era.
I'll let you take him as a sixth man. How about that?
Oh wait, well, if you're going to say that, can I not put Reggie Miller point guard now?
Yeah, do that. Do that.
All right, Reggie Miller point guard, Paul George shooting guard, Danny Granger small forward. I mean, power forward, I'm probably going to put Sabonis. Big fan of Sabonis.
Nice.
Sort of going back to the Fever, sort of that scene, just watching him play in Euro basketball. He's kind of like, he makes everyone around sort of a bit better because he just assists, rebounding, and he's scoring. I guess he's just like his dad a little bit.
Yes. He's a very European kind of big.
Yeah.
Be good at, you look at Jokic and what he's doing in the league at the moment. The European bigs seem to be able to do everything.
Yeah, and I suppose if we're like from Europe, then that's kind of like the way we're brought up to play.
Yeah.
We're as athletic as, say, an Anthony Davis or a Zion Williamson.
No.
So I think, power forward, I have to go for Sabonis. Centre, I mean, do you remember Jeff Foster?
Bit before me, I think, maybe.
Jeff Foster. I'll go with him.
Nice. I
have to Google him.
I will. I'll be doing that straight away. Oh, no, I've got him here. Jeff Foster.
He won't last long, and I'll sub him out quickly for... I'm going to have to go for Roy Hibbert. I love Roy Hibbert.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Roy Hibbert. I'm gutted he kind of just faded out kind of quickly and quietly, didn't he? But
yeah, it seemed like the game got too quick for him to really be effective.
yeah, there you go. Jeff Douglas Foster, nickname Feisty, 6'11", played, what's that, 12 seasons, 13 seasons in the NBA?
Yeah, I think he's a legend. If you're a real Pacers fan, then you'd know a little bit more about him. I just know his name and that he kind of was there on the scene when I was sort of getting into watching Pacers.
Nice, okay. So there's some nostalgia about him.
Yeah. And he was just so angry. Maybe because he wasn't very good.
No, that's great. So we'll wrap it up there with your starting 6/7.
We'll make it 8.
It's been brilliant having you on, and I'd like to maybe check back in with you at some point later on in the year, see how the Pacers are getting on, have a bit of an update, another chinwag if you're up for it.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Absolute pleasure. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and follow us on Twitter at _HardwoodHoops. I'll put up a picture of Jeff Foster there so everybody can see his beautiful angry face. And we will catch you soon on the next episode. Bye to you all.